Welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into the relationship between India and United States to understand what it means for the world. They are the world's oldest and the largest democracies. For years, Washington has called New Delhi a major defense partner, a cornerstone of its entire strategy in Asia. They are bound by deep security ties and a shared vision for peaceful Indo-Pacific. But behind the handshake and photo ops, a fierce economic war is brewing. In a stunning move, the United States has slammed India with a barrage of new tariffs, effectively doubling the taxes on Indian goods almost overnight. In response, India is digging in its heels, refusing to back down. This isn't just another trade dispute. This is a high-stake geopolitical showdown that could reshape the global balance of power, fracture critical alliances, and redefine the relationship between two of the world's most important nations. So how on earth did we get here? And what happens when two friendly giants go to war or trade? The relationship between India and United States have always been a complicated dance. Think of it as two parallel stories happening at the same time. On one hand, you have the grand strategic narrative. This is the story of deepening military cooperation and a shared growing concern over China's power. The two nations have what they call as a comprehensive global strategic partnership, which is a fancy title for a whole web of the initiatives designed to bind them together. They have launched major collaborations on critical and emerging technologies and are building on a roadmap for defense industrial cooperation meant to guide their partnership for next decade. You can see this partnership in action with P-8I maritime aircraft patrolling the Indian Ocean and American Apache and Chinook helicopters flying for the Indian military. This is a relationship that makes headlines all about mutual security and a united front. But then there is their other story, the one governed by economic competition and a trade imbalance that has been a thorn in the side of this relationship for years. The US has constantly complained about not getting enough access to India's massive market, while New Delhi has fiercely protected its own industries. For a long time, these two stories, strategic partnership and economic rival, managed to stay in separate lanes. Now, they just have had a head-on collision. The fragile peace shattered this month. Citing national security, the White House announced a massive 25% tariff on nearly all Indian imports. This wasn't just a small adjustment, it was a broadside. This is a new tax that was stacked right on the existing 25% tariff, taking it to a massive staggering 50%, one of the highest that US imposed to any country in the world. The reason? India's continued purchase of the Russian oil. The US administration accused India of weakening the international pressure campaign against Moscow. The executive order explicitly frames India's action as threat to the US national security. The economic shock was instant, but the diplomatic fallout was even bigger. The Indian government immediately fired back, calling the tariffs unfortunate and unreasonable. Officials in New Delhi were quick to point out what they saw as a glaring double standards, noting that other nations were also buying Russian oil without facing the same consequences. India's Ministry of External Affairs puts out a statement explaining that its energy policy is based on one simple thing: ensuring stable energy for its 1.4 billion people. To make matters worse, the US president declared that all trade talks with India were off, reportedly. A bilateral trade deal that both sides have been set were just inches closer to finish, just frozen independently. The message from Washington was loud and clear that there will be no more talks until this is resolved. The Great Tariff War was on. This conflict rips open the central paradox of the India-US relationship. It's like a house divided against itself, with one wing designed for a military alliance and the other locked in an economic cage match. On the economic front, the list of grievances is long. The US points to a major trade deficit in 2024. India sold nearly 87.3 billion in goods and services to US and bought only 40.5 billion in return. For a year, Washington has been pushing India to lower its high protective tariff, especially on things like American farm goods, dairy products, and medicinal devices. For the US perspective, India's economy just isn't playing fair. But the Indian side, this isn't just about fairness. It is about survival. The agriculture and dairy sectors aren't just businesses. They are the lifeblood of the rural India, supporting hundreds of millions of people. Throwing out opened the doors to foreign competition, New Delhi argues could destroy the livelihood of its most vulnerable citizens. For India, this is a red line that cannot be crossed. Facing down immense economic pressure, India's leadership has been unapologetically defiant. In a powerful speech, Prime Minister Narendra Modi drew a line in the sand, framing this as an issue of national sovereignty. He has consistently said that the interest of India's farmers is the top priority and that India will not compromise on its agriculture and dairy sectors. It was a direct rebuttal to long-standing American demands. This wasn't just political posturing. It was a declaration of India's commitment to its core foreign policy idea, strategic autonomy. This doctrine says that India will make decisions based on its own national interests, working with everyone from the US to Russia without being tied to anyone's agenda. Continuing to buy Russian oil despite American disapproval is a textbook example of this policy in action. In part 2 of this video, I will elaborate on how this deepening trade crisis could impact the strategic alliances that both countries are in, be it countering China's expansionism, shared Indo-Pacific vision, and the most important Quad alliances, which also has Japan and Australia in it. What do you think? Can this strategic friendship survive on economic war? Let us know in the comments, and if you want to know more deep dives into the geopolitical shifts shaping our world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thank you for watching.